sit back, relax, and get ready because this is Things Mom Never Said: Secrets to Aging Well. We are back in season 4 of our lovely podcast. And this year, as we explained last time, we are doing a different format this year where we're having specialists in their field come on and talk about different topics to help us as women transform our lives this year. And today we are joined by Michelle Lea. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Michelle is the founder of NuYou, that's located here in Naples, Florida. She is the creator of Lea Activation, which stands for not only her last name, but Life Energy Activation. It's a transformative approach that blends somatic movement, breath work, spinal activation, and consciousness-based practices to reconnect individuals with their innate vitality and inner knowing, and I'm going to stumble on this, gnosis.
Gnosis.
Is that right? Perfect.
That is correct.
Okay. Her theories of trauma-informed intimacy and embodiment allow Michelle to I am having the worst time. Maybe it's because we're on video for the first time. It allows Michelle to bridge science and sensuality and spirituality to support deep nervous system regulation, authentic expression, and embodied awakening. I'm going to stumble and fall. Let me say this again. Through her upcoming podcast series, Intimately Lea, Michelle explores intimacy, healing, energy, and modern mysticism with honesty and depth. Her current online seminars invite participants into experiential activation rather than theory, creating real-time shifts in awareness and embodiment. She also offers one-on-one and small group transformative experiences, and together, Michelle Lea's work is an invitation to remember, embody, and live from one's inner truth. Welcome, Michelle.
Let me remember to simplify that in the future.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good. It's me.
Even the podcast, like, it's intimately. That's, it's intimate and then Lea. Intimately. Yeah.
Intimately.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I like to make things difficult for some reason.
Well, if nothing, you are on brand, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I can't wait to hear the questions.
Great.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's so great to have you because we have been, like I mentioned, on this journey to create opportunities for transformation in this 1 year that we're in. It's just such a great moment and kind of a crossroads where we can intentionally set ourselves up for the next 9 years. And as part of that, my thought in having you on, because I know all of your work spans over so many different genres within energy work. But my point was to talk with you about what is energy, why is it important, and where do we need to understand that initially so that we can balance ourselves, clear out blockages, and move forward. So that's kind of where we're going to be today. So Michelle, tell us, how did you get into this work with energy and activation?
It's just been a life process I didn't know was going to lead me to here. It's like, okay, well, all of the roads lead to here, and now I'm here, and it makes sense. I originally grew up in Ohio in a very small town of about 2,500 people. It was a village. We had one stoplight. And I was, we just got to have these experiences to put us here. And so I felt very restricted there and always wanted to dim my light, always felt like I couldn't be everything I wanted to be because I would stand out too much, and those are all things that hit us. And if you realize our chakra systems regulate our endocrine systems. So that development of that safety of who you are in your surroundings happens between birth and 7 years. That's that root chakra. So what we fundamentally grow up around those first 7 years really shift how we allow ourselves to transform in our life based around how we know safety. And we think it's like this magic little red colored circle called the root chakra, right? But it's actually a bundle of neuroplexuses, of nerves that communicate to your endocrine system, which produce your hormones that produce the way your body forms and the way our mind thinks. And so it all starts at the very day we're born. We don't know what our chakra systems are. And we're just given all of these life circumstances, and then it's up to us to go in and take the time to discover what happened, right? So mine happened around sexuality between 7 and 14, right? I grew up in a town not really in religion, but also very strict on how they viewed women and their sexuality. I resonated very much with the Scarlet A, and I was like, oh my God, did they write that book about me? And, so I was really, really pissed off when they said that they made a woman from a rib of a man. I was like, there's no way that that happened. We carry the children. So it was just really hard growing up in that small town with limited belief systems, and I wanted to know so much more. So I got real curious real early in life. And I guess that led me down several different paths to from first degree was in horticulture. I grew up around plants, and so I knew a lot about plants and how they grow, which is perfect because now I work with plant medicines with people. So it really, really helped my understanding with understanding the power of the frequency of the plants, right? Of what we take into our body, hence why we are what we eat. So that also affects our chakras. And then I went into esthetician, massage, personal training, and I started understanding how the body was working more. And then I went into physical therapy and I got a degree into that. And it was like, oh, okay, so we use plants to fuel our body. We've got this body with these amazing mechanics. And then my second marriage was to somebody who really abused his sexual powers, who needed like 3 orgasms a day. And so like I went through this whole sexual trauma, and then it reopened up the rape that I had experienced when I was younger. And so that restricts our creative centers, right? And that's that sacral chakra. So then all of that really disempowered my third chakra, the sense of who we are in the world and our ego and how much we're willing to put ourselves out there. And that's where the transformation begins, right? So when we start to see all of these things happen in a perfect alignment for you to be able to go in, study, navigate, and discover for yourself that it isn't true. It's just a thought process that we had in that moment, but we've held on to it for so long. We made it true in ourselves. So for me, when I started studying more about our chakra systems and how that relates to spirituality, because then I went on the whole eat, love, pray thing. I went to Bali. I was discovering my chakras, the Kundalini energy, and so yeah, it was just this perfect trajectory to get me to study how the energetic body and the physical body work here on Earth together.
Wow.
Very good. Wow.
Very cool.
Quite a journey.
Quite a journey. And as a couple of Midwest gals ourselves, we completely can understand that kind of experience where you're diminished and told to be a thing. And how vital that is when you age out of that and start to explore and find yourself.
It was a beautiful journey.
I bet. Sounds amazing.
Sure it was.
And so now I am here to help any individual, men and women, to really start to look at those aspects of themselves and where they lie within our systems in our body. When I read the book, The Body Keeps the Score, I really started understanding how we hold those traumas in our energetic body, in our senses, a sense of who we are even. And it does limit us from making the transformation that we see ourselves becoming. You have to live it. You have to think it. You have to feel it. Whatever that transformation looks like, you have to overcome something that's a self-limiting belief that's holding you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've
talked about limiting beliefs.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they talk about these chakras, and Sherry, what have you ever heard about chakras? I'm so curious.
Well, very little, a very limited amount. And April, for several years, has talked about this with me, and I still don't have a really good understanding. But as you've explained some things, I realize that I've had thoughts about some of this and my lifestyle and how you continue to progress if you're open. And I want to know more about this. I'm always in search of truth and understanding. I don't want to just settle. I need to know truth and open up my world, and that brings a whole other mess. But you can get so involved trying to search and find out that you get overwhelmed at times, even. But if you can be still and know and listen and take in information, it's really good. It's very helpful.
Yeah, within that stillness is where you start to feel the subtle energy. And that's where you start to get curious. What is
true.
that feeling? And it's actually your vagus nerve.
Okay, I've heard of the vagus nerve.
Okay, so the vagus nerve runs down the front of our body.
Okay.
And then our spine is the energy cord that runs down the back of the body.
Okay.
So these two cords are running on a parallel axis. And you can start to understand, if you think of it as a wheel moving, and the energy moves along that wheel. We also have them independently along different areas of our body, and they communicate to the endocrine system, which communicates to the organs. And we have 7 main chakras that we talk about.
Okay.
And if you really think about the number 7 and how it occurs in nature,
Right.
7 primary colors, 7 primary planets, 7 primary sounds of creation, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, right? Each one of those correlate with each one of your chakras, and they're a hertz, they're a frequency. And so if you think about every single cell, 70 trillion thousand cells, all vibrating, but they're not even touching each other, but they're vibrating, not touching each other. And they're held together by this biomagnetic field. We're really not a solid part.
Interesting.
And we're mostly made of water. So if you think about sounds and vibrations being able to be felt in the body, the nervous system now can send wavelengths in that water so that you can start receiving messages.
Wow. And that kind of goes right along with the idea that we mostly are made of water. Isn't that something?
So, there's mantras, and then there's mantras, there's singing, there's prayers, whatever your belief system is that you're made up of, you're vibrating at a frequency that your cells actually can recognize. So basically, we're becoming attuned into each level of our being so that the endocrine system can now communicate hormone signals to complete that transformation. And our body's constantly dying and being reborn, and every 7 years, you have a completely new body. There's that magic number 7.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you were intentionally working with your chakras for 7 years and you vibrated at a higher rate for 7 years, what a new body would look like in 7 years. That's the faith.
Oh my gosh.
That's the prayer.
Wow.
And when you don't
Wow.
have it, you won't make the transformation.
Right.
Ah.
Wow.
So we need to get busy working on our chakras.
Good. Very good information.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I loved what you mentioned earlier, that, what we eat is so important, what we take in. And you can see why that would be the case.
Right? Even plants are cells that are vibrating at a frequency.
Yes.
Animals are cells that are vibrating at a frequency, but we want to put so much emphasis on, what we're eating and what's right and what's wrong, but we're also not putting enough emphasis on, well, what is that it's vibrating at that we're going to put it in our body at?
Right.
Okay. Processed food is not vibrating.
Good point.
It's dead. It's dead.
But we want to put it in our body. And so you think
right.
about energies. What are calories?
Right.
Energy.
It's energy. So what kind of energy are you putting in your body?
Mm-hmm.
And once you start living at this kind of information, you no longer, I still want a bag of chips, but at least now when I want that bag of chips and I do allow myself, I get the organic, it's, not processed with all these artificial things. I'm going to let myself have it, but I'm going to have the most highest quality vibrational food that I can put in my body.
Very good.
Yes.
Recently, April has kind of informed me or brought me along as far as vibrations and plants and some of the things that she has attended. Like I believe it was a meditation and it was water and the balls rolling around on the water and the vibrations and even to the point where they are putting little microphones by plants and feeling the vibration, the sound that they make because they're vibrating. Wow. It's a lot.
Let's talk. I love that you talk about water because do either one of you know which of your chakras are ruled or governed by the element water?
No.
I was going to ask you to take us through everything. So yes, tell us.
There's just so much to learn, right? But
Yes.
this is one of the most important things for transformation. I teach a lot of manifestation and transformation comes from our sexual energy. And that is in your sacral chakra, your second chakra. So you can see it over here. So if you think about this area, this region, it's known for creating babies.
Okay. Interesting.
What else is it known for? Sexual pleasure.
Yes.
Sure.
If it can create a life force, do you think that it can create healing within your body?
Of course.
So the one big thing about esoteric healing, which is the ancient wisdom healing of the divine feminine, is that magic womb space can not only create life, but it can create magical healing. And one of the biggest things that it is also governed by is our emotions. So the sacral chakra is governed by water. It's identified by our emotional body. So you think about the ocean and you think about when she's calm, and we identify with the ocean as a feminine figure. When she's calm, the waters are peaceful, everything is easygoing. But what happens when they say the waters are angry? Now think about that in every cell of your body. What would angry waters look like in each one of your cells?
Go ahead, April.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm like picturing like, because I'm postmenopausal, but I'm still having hormone stuff. So when I'm like, I was just driving here from a meeting and I was like, and so if I'm picturing myself getting like a flush of anger at something and then all my body and all my cells doing like a tsunami effect, I've just jostled my whole system.
Yes, you have.
That's
And
crazy.
one
I didn't think about it.
1 minute of that stress exposure and dumping all that cortisol level in your body takes 12 hours to remove.
Oof. Whew. I'm
So
going to need a year to recoup.
That is why our sexual energy is so potent with our emotions. Think of how directly correlated it is.
Wow. Wow.
Now that's developed between ages 7 and 14. And that also is your ability to be creative. That's when you start learning to draw and do art and music. And so all of those rich things that enrich our life, you're either going to get shut down during that time, or you're going to be encouraged to keep, processing it, keep going.
That's it.
And now we've limited ourselves to whether we believe in that in our life for the rest of our lives.
Right.
Right.
Maybe 10, 15 years ago, I came to believe that every one of us has a creativeness within us. And some people hold on to that and continue experiencing it and developing and using that. And some of us shut down. And all three of my girls are very creative. And I've always encouraged that. And I, sometimes I started thinking about, yeah, God gave us all kinds of abilities. We can either take them and run with it, or we can shut them down and not even acknowledge them. Yeah. So what happens when that older lady decides, I'm not interested sexually in and being with my husband or being in the act of lovemaking? That's another way of shutting yourself down.
Correct. So get intimate with yourself, with your higher source. Because that's what White Tantra was all about, was connecting your divine masculine and feminine to the higher sources above. The inner matrimony was what they called the Heros Gamos, the most divine matrimony of all, was you claiming all of your sovereignty of uniting both your masculine and feminine energies together into one. That's holy matrimony. It's not outside of yourself.
Very interesting concept.
Very.
But this is Gnosis. This is the way that the Gnostics taught. So getting back to what is Gnosticism, it's that inner knowing. It's being so in tune with yourself that nothing outside of you is going to sway you.
So important.
I can see that.
So important. But until we start getting curious about, why am I stuck in this thought process? Why do I have these limiting beliefs that I couldn't be what I really want to be?
Yep.
Let's get curious, because then we go up to, who am I? Our ego is the solar plexus. And it hits you right in the gut. You've had something or somebody say something to you that didn't feel right, and it hit you right in the gut. And you had that awareness 6 seconds or more before your brain could ever figure out what it was. This is how powerful your chakras are. They are the ones who respond first and then send the signals to the brain that something's happening. When you start tapping into this senses, this innate sense of knowing, you act quicker. Time, you manifest faster. Time isn't conditioning you as much. But our ego, many men have a sense of, I'm not worthy. So the masculine in us, I'm not worthy for it. Right? Or there's a sense of, I have to take it because nobody's going to give it to me, right? Like whatever that ego is, it happened probably between 14 and 21. When you're developing it, you go through all these characters of who you want to become. Right? That's your third chakra.
Okay.
That's your solar plexus, the identity of who I am. And that's kind of like the angel and the devil sitting on your shoulder. You could go either way, because you're going to know what this stops you from, whether it goes up into your heart center or not. The chakras were divinely made to explore on top of each other. You can't have an open crown chakra without a connection to the most primal aspects of yourself here on earth. Most people want to deny that, but you can't.
So, what is it that leads you to get to that point where you recognize, and maybe some things you've never been exposed to the word or the idea of chakra, but there's a point where probably experiences, joys or disappointments, it leads you to something greater. And I am I consider myself to be a strong Christian woman, and I feel like God has awakened me and expressed and explained and directed me. And sometimes I wonder why other people I'm around don't seem to want to know and explore and understand. Is that just part of our personality and limiting the chakra?
I think that your life, each individual's life, you have all of these opportunities to be open to seeing the greater source of consciousness. And at some point in your life, you will be forced to face it.
Okay.
It could be at the moment of death.
But you will make that decision.
You will make that decision. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how I've seen it. And the heart chakra is the if you think of your body and I put my arms out, my body's now a cross, and you've got your heart on the cross. You are your own crucifixion center right here. So until you're really ready to look at everything you've done in your life, because we're not all saints.
That's right.
We are also sinners.
We are that for sure.
True.
And
story.
So whatever your belief system is and however you see that in yourself, you have to be willing to look at it. And if you don't, something in your life will force you to. And that's karma. That's a whole nother aspect that directly works with the chakras because it's energy. And it's all the same, right? And so we think about like, okay, now my heart is open to possibilities. Now you've got this beautiful marriage where these upper three chakras are meant to be more etherical. So most women tend to be more etherical in their upper chakras, and they don't really tend to have the skills to be more sound here on earth, unless they're very much in their masculine energy. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does to me.
Totally.
And then most genres of men that identify as a man have very much the skills of their primal skills of being here on earth and have gotten disconnected from their higher aspects of the reason that we're here on earth. And so the heart is the marriage center of these two energies to come together. And that is also the ways of Gnosticism and Hermeticism is that, it takes 48 years for all of these chakras to completely develop with life circumstances here on earth, right? If every 7 years one is truly opening. So to become integrated with all of it, it takes a long time.
Yes, it would. It does.
If you think of a baby being born, the crown chakra is still open. And with that crown chakra still open, they are telepathically communicating to you what they need. Mothers know what their babies need, but their crown chakra is open because their throat chakra is not developed enough to speak. But we know what they need. Now, as that crown closes over, guess what? The first 7 years, you are now closed-minded. That first 7 years of your life developed you, whether you were going to stay open to possibilities or not, whether you were safe. So your circumstances in your life have closed it down. And now you've got to go through all of this experiential stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really forgive yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time ago, as a child, I had two older brothers and a younger sister, and we had a great family life. I was very close to my father and to my mother. It was like I had the perfect situation, I always felt like. But I remember, maybe because my brothers were older, I would watch them and I learned from them like what to do and what not to do. I learned a lot from them. But I always felt like I had a better understanding of men, of who they are, what they're like, and that helped guide me through my life. And then I remember thinking at one point in my life, I feel like I really understand that male um, role, maybe. At the same time, I really was understanding the female role, but I had no idea about them being connected in there, or what could happen from all that.
I think that, we get too stuck on identifying whether we're masculine or feminine in our physical presence here on earth.
Yeah.
But there's also an aspect, and I say that with an aspect that we have and are born with these innate, knowings
Okay.
as we come in. Many studies show that in utero, the fetus is actually getting DMT delivered, which is a psychedelic compound that is produced in our brains at birth and at death, and at near-death experiences or through plant medicines. Many people have experienced near-death experiences, but you have one at birth and you have one at death. So in utero, babies come out already knowing how to suckle. They've seen how to do this through psychedelic trips in utero. So if usually we're really focused as a mother on the energy of what this baby's going to need, and the male energy is coming through, but the woman, there's a new geneticist, and this is so deep, such a deep topic, but it talks about mitochondrial DNA. And mitochondrial DNA is the mitochondria is the powerhouse of energy of every cell in our body. When you eat food, the mitochondria turns it into fuel for your body, right? So it's your energy converter. Now, DNA that gets dropped from the mother and the father, everybody gets everything delivered from the mother and the father, except for the mitochondrial DNA is only passed down from the mother. So there is a thing about this divine feminine energy being the innate knowing, but it's in every single one of us. Men can have it too. So I just want to not get that too confusing. I don't want to identify too much of male and female in physical form.
Right.
For me, it's more about how we identify with those aspects of ourselves.
Right. I understand that.
But and guess what the book title of that was? It just came out about 10 years ago, I think. The 7 Daughters of Eve. There's that 7 number again.
Oh.
There we
And
go.
the geneticist studied the Iceman that was discovered in 1992, I think it was, in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
And they're tracing our mitochondrial DNA back to the original 7 women of the planet.
Wow.
We know energy is never created or destroyed, right? So we literally still have the energy in us, in our mitochondria, from the original 7 women on the planet. That's an amazing concept to just look at.
Okay.
It's mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
so
it
cool.
is.
But to talk about the chakras, there's a lot of amazing research that's coming out right now to back this all up.
Okay.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Zach Bush, they're all leading doctors out there right now that are talking about our chakras, the Kundalini energy. Maybe you've heard that word Kundalini before. They're all using it now in medical form of wanting to understand how we heal ourselves. When we look at a cut on our finger, we don't sit there and go, okay, you need to heal, you need to heal, you need to heal,
Yeah.
right? Because that would just dump more cortisol levels and make us more stressed out that it's not healing the way we think it should heal. We trust that our bodies are going to do it. And this is suggesting that when we do these meditations and when we activate, intentionally tap into these energy centers, you are now giving your autonomic nervous system permission to heal from the inside out.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
A
how do
lot to
we
learn.
open up?
So
Yeah, how do we open up our chakras to start this and
It's different
to
for
get this
everyone.
experience going?
Okay.
Okay.
It's different for everyone. The biggest thing for me is breath, because when we breathe, we're just breathing and we're not thinking about breathing. That's that autonomic nervous system. But the lungs are somewhat different because you can interrupt and take over and now make it systonomic. You're in charge of it, right? You're in charge of your breath.
That's
Guess
right.
what that correlates to? Your nervous system.
Okay.
And each one of those plexuses of nerves are attached at an area that you can breathe into along the vagus nerve. So when you start to have proper breathing techniques, sounding techniques, you can use different sounds. Many of the Hindu religions have, ram, vam, just all the different sounds to activate. It's vibrating from the inside out, the vagus nerve. Dr. Zach Bush talks about, they build cathedrals for music to bounce off, to have perfect vibration.
That's right.
Our rib cage is an acoustic, it's an acoustic cathedral, right? And the diaphragm is bouncing the music from here like a laser light, and it's reverberating in through that channel along that vagus nerve. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay, so that starts to stimulate them. What happens for most people when they start working with their chakras is they're either just only working on activating the upper chakras, and they get scared when they start to work on these lower chakras because, first of all, your first and second one are going to start to feel like you're getting turned on. It's going to feel like arousal. That's because that's where the nerves lie in your body. The trick to it is to bypass. That's what I understand many of the religion techniques were put in place for, is to learn to ascend that sexual energy, that drive to recreate here on earth, to use that energy up into your higher centers of being here on earth. Many people don't understand that that's a drive force to reproduce, but you can override that and bring that up. So as we start breathing into these lower energy centers, you start activating different areas. You can tap on them, you can sound with them. Many people sing, they'll pray, they'll get into somatic movements. I would suggest finding something that you're comfortable with, but it's got to become a practice. Most people go to one session and they learn about their chakras, but then they're like, okay, I know about my chakras. Well, what practice are you putting into place to work with them?
Right.
Universal energy. If you want to become a manifesting, I'm a manifesting generator by nature with my human design. So if you want to understand how to become a manifester, a creator of your reality, and you want to really make a transformation in your life, I suggest you find a practice that works with these energy centers. And I teach the Lea activation so that people can go through somatic movements. We'll do about 10 minutes of that. And then we do about 10 or 15 minutes of activation. We do 10 or 15 minutes of breath work. Now we've activated your whole nervous system. And then you go into a deeply relaxed state where I can start to help you move energy, start to feel into what you're feeling in your body, and then go deeper into that feeling. You got to bypass your thinking mind, because you can't physically hear God. You can't see God. You can't taste God, right? You have to use your senses to witness it. And this is the same thing that we're doing with our chakras. Your imagination is more powerful than you realize. When you start to feel something and then you imagine what you're feeling, and then you imagine that you're feeling deeper into it, before you know, you have created a lot of intense energy, pranic energy in that area.
And with that energy, we should strive to do what? Is it a matter
Sit.
of the feelings of our life, joy, happiness?
You want to start to learn to feel the energy in each one of your chakra areas. I mean, that's the most ultimate goal. It's going to take you a long time to get there. It's taken me 5 years of intense studies. I put pretty much all of my work aside, and I've spent the last 5 years devoted to just learning about the chakras. But if you really go in deep, you'll see that they're actually talked about in the Bible. There's many, many places in the Bible, especially in the Gnostic scriptures, where they talk about them.
What would the Gnostic scriptures be? What?
Well, they were left out, like the scriptures from Mary Magdalene. Have you ever read Mary Magdalene's Gospels? It talks a
I've
lot
got that
about
in my Amazon right now. I've got that in my queue.
Oh, you do?
I'm planning a
Good.
pilgrimage. So I'm planning a pilgrimage next year.
Oh,
So to do
Nice.
the 150-mile pilgrimage, where she landed in France, and then she
Yes.
tracked the 150 miles up to the caves, and we'll be covering the gospel. But that's a lot of the
sounds awesome.
esoteric healing. And they studied the chakras. One of the most profound moments for me was in my studies. I think it was in Paul's. He talked about how they cast 7 demons.
yes.
Jesus cast 7 demons. He woke up each one of her 7 chakras and gave her a full Kundalini body awakening, is what he did. And that's what I do with people. Yeah.
That is so insane, because just thinking about like all of her, like what happened with her in the Bible, and they didn't include the stuff she wrote about her own experience with it, but that is, oh my gosh, I never even saw the correlation with that.
And they don't talk about what Yeshua or Jesus's studies were, but many of the books talk about how he went to Egypt and he studied with the shaman, and he studied about the chakras, and he had this Kundalini awakening, and he taught Mary Magdalene. They went to a lot of the studies, the School of Horus, which was a sex magic school, and they talked about how to work with the divine creator energy. Sex is creator energy, but we can transpose that into manifestation energy for our own good, for the higher good.
Okay.
So many things, Michelle. I mean, this is just, now I want to take the activation, and I want to go on the Magdalene trip with you. And I call these things.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh, it'd be so cool. Do you have, so if someone wants to, obviously I'm going to put all of your links in the podcast description so people can get to you and to all of your services. But if someone wants to have a visual of the chakras to kind of start with, to work with, is there a chakra chart that you recommend? Or a book or
I think
something?
I think one of my best sources for me that I learned the most was a YouTube channel, Gene Hart, and it's called The Astral Doorway. He has a YouTube chakra series. Each one of them are about an hour long. That is the most complete source of information I have found.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I love his series.
We'll include that.
Yeah, he's on Patreon. He does courses in Gnosticism. I've studied with him. I really love his work. So yeah.
Great.
Very cool.
I'm
I
so
think we could sit
excited
here
for
and
you.
talk for hours. This is amazing.
Yes.
It's a very, very deep topic
Yes.
for me.
Yeah.
This is one of my
Mhm.
favorite things to talk about.
Well,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
oftentimes when you have something that you treasure, you want to talk, you want to share that with people. But a lot of people aren't there. They don't understand or don't realize that they could understand, or at least
Mhm.
become a little more intelligent about the whole thing. But that must be hard for you because you have so much that comes bubbling out that you want to share, and it's not always easy to find
I
that
know.
person that wants to go as deep.
I think I'm okay now anymore because
Good.
I really have seen how everybody does get there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm. That's so
Well, this has
so
been
cool.
really, really enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
need to have you back.
Oh,
Oh
great,
my
great.
gosh.
Yeah.
If nothing else, just to talk about the plant energy, because we're so like super excited about that. And I've been watching all of the videos with the plant frequencies creating music, and there's just a lot there to explore, especially with our nutrition and how we take that in. And yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for me, my diet has been pretty much as organic and whole food as I can.
Mhm.
My teeth, I have, only 4 carnivorous teeth and the other 28 are omnivore, which is an 80-20 rule. So I kind of 80% meat and dairy, and the
Mhm.
rest are meats, or I mean, vegetables and
Mhm.
fruits and grain and nuts. But
Wonderful.
I also allow myself to go down to Fifth Avenue and get a pastry at Bonta because, like,
Right.
Right?
I get
Because how
Right.
can you
to have
not?
this fun with taste buds, and it's so amazing. Like, I
Right.
gotta have it all.
I know.
Oh,
I
yes.
know. Oh, I know.
But you're
We're so
controlling it.
fortunate.
That's great.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Well, I think that this has been amazing, and it's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to energy work. There's so many other things we can explore and talk about, but if you just start to, I'm saying this to myself, if I just start to think about each point and how am I utilizing it, or not even thinking about it, or where is the energy stagnant, or where is it working, and just kind of start to think about that. That's a great place, at least for me, to start and to say, okay, where can I work first, and what can I unleash and bring forth, and how can that transform what I'm doing. I love the worthiness situation because I had never put that with the chakra, and that's one thing that I think that if I had to say throughout my life has been a constant pattern, has been with worthiness. And so if I'm looking at that and thinking, okay, how do I work with that chakra to open that up, to free myself of that limiting belief? Um, yeah, I just, it's very, very cool. Thank you.
One of the things that I did for that was the breath of fire, and
Oh,
I called
yes.
upon the Hindu goddess Kali Ma, I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with Kali Ma, but she burns
Yeah.
away anything that you ask for. Just keep her in check.
Okay. Right? Because she can light a lot of stuff on fire.
Sure did.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. That breath of fire, Mom,
fantastic.
I'll tell you about that later. But yeah, it's really great.
Okay.
Like when you're meditating, it's an amazing experience.
And don't be afraid to tap along the whole midline. The vagus nerve runs down along the outside of the occipital here and down the neck, and then it comes in and it runs right along this vertical midline, right down the center. And if you can't access breathing into that diaphragm, you can tap it, you can push, and you want to learn to breathe more here than here. Most people are chest breathers, and that's a lot of anxiety, that's a lot of tension, a lot of stress, right? Because when we're stressed, we hold all this tight. So you want to keep this really relaxed and learn to breathe lower into the belly, the Buddha belly. You want a Buddha belly.
Yes. Yes.
Be Buddha. Yeah.
Good.
Yes. That's your yoga practice, Mom. It's like that diaphragmatic breathing, that
Okay.
belly breathing.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
I will work
Thanks,
on that.
Michelle, so much. Everybody, I hope you got something out of this episode with Michelle. And like I said, we'll put the links to her, all of her services and socials so that you can experience and engage with her. I think that if you haven't thought about it, this is your moment to think about chakras and opening them for transformation.
Mm-hmm.
All
so
right.
wonderful
So
to
as we
meet
say,
you and hear what you have to say.
It's so great. So, okay, Mom, as we say, ciao.
Ciao, baby.
Ciao, baby.
Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again next time for Things Mom Never Said, Secrets to Aging Well. We'll be back, so set your calendars, set your alarms, get ready, get set, follow, subscribe, and don't miss a beat.